Hi, we're on 5 on Fear, Part 6. Just briefly, I'd like to mention the fact that we're still in the key room because we still want to focus on this wonderful thing that gives us access to the treasures of salvation. We found that the key to these treasures is the fear of God. Not fear taught according to the precepts of man, which would mean that fear is just reverence or respect or honor, but fear means fear, to be afraid, to be frightened, to understand the greatness, the majesty of God, that He holds the power of life and death, and that there's nothing that can deliver you from Him. But then He becomes a benevolent, loving parent when we understand, and we get this freedom, we get this freedom to know that He's taking care of us, that our Father, our Dad, our real Daddy, holds the keys to life, death, hell, the grave. He controls everything. As He told us in Deuteronomy 32:39, He is the one who kills. He's the one who heals. He's the one who wounds. He's the one who makes alive. And no man can deliver out of His hand. Job 28:28 tells us that the fear of God is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Now let's look at how that tells us that what people consider to be fear may not be fear. If you fear God, then you're going to keep His commandments. In Psalm 55:19, he says that there were people who went around afflicting or putting pressure and hurting others. And he said that when those people that are being pressured, that are being hurt, cry out to God, then God will hear. And what will happen is that He will afflict those who are afflicting others. He that abideth from old, it says. And then it says Selah, which means pause. Think about it. He says, because they have no changes, they have no fear. They do not fear God because they haven't changed. If you're going around unchanged, if you're going around still sinning, if you're going around still hurting others, you're not scared. You're not afraid of God. And that because you would change if you did. He says this in Romans 3:18. If there are people whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness and murder, and there's no peace, and they go about spreading misery, he says there is no fear of God before their eyes. So if you're involved in sin, if you're comfortable in it, if you're spreading misery to others, if your mouth is full of cursing and bitterness, then you don't fear God. So if there's been no change in your life, then there's no fear of God. If you fear God, you will change. Now, He says in His word, again, Proverbs 14:3, He says, if you walk about uprightly, then you fear God. But if you are perverse in your action, in your ways, if you're perverse in your ways, then you despise Him. So there's no confusion. If you are obedient and following God and walking uprightly, then it's because you're scared. You fear Him as you would any good, strong, consistent father. But if you're not doing this, then you don't fear Him. In Ecclesiastes 3:14, he makes this statement. This is heady. I know, it says, that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor can anything be taken from it. And God doeth it that men should fear before him. Whatever God has done, he has done so you would fear him.